Good morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to view this video and give us an opportunity to welcome you and your children back to this new school year. I'm Michael Fagan. I'm the Director of Facilities and Business Affairs for Jefferson County Schools. And to my right, I have Jamie Johnson, who's the Director of Food Service for Jefferson County Schools. And to my left is Sherry Dotson, Director of Transportation for Jefferson County Schools. And we are going to take just a few moments and bring you up to speed on a few things that we think will be of importance to you and your children as we begin this new school year. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Dotson.
Yes, good morning. First, I would like to let you parents know a few things about the people who are driving your school buses here in Jefferson County. First, I'd like to let you know that they are the very best. I think that they are absolutely the cream of the crop, and if transportation is a success, it is because of our wonderful bus drivers that we have out there driving for us. First of all, in order for them to be able to drive the school bus that transport your children, they have to go through a strenuous physical. There's some new requirements that say that they have to maintain their health in order to keep that job as a school bus driver. They've got to maintain a good blood pressure, they've got to keep their blood sugar in control, they've got to maintain a good weight. I mean, it's tougher now on a school bus driver than it ever has been before to maintain a CDL physical. Already we've lost probably 3 or 4 bus drivers that couldn't pass that physical. So actually, in order for them to keep driving that school bus, they have to be healthy. They have to maintain a good movies violations report every year. They go through a criminal background check, and they have got to be rock solid citizens before they can even be allowed to drive a bus. So you've got the very best out there driving for you. I want you to know that. And also, in order to be a bus driver, they have to be able to handle pressure. Driving a school bus is a high pressure job. Most of these buses are carrying up to 80 kids at a time on some of these 90 passengers. And you can only imagine, Mom, you can only imagine being in a van with 2 kids in the back and in the back seat trying to keep them from fighting and picking on one another. Well, think about hauling about 80 kids. It's a tough job, and they do a good job at it. Something I want you to know, your children are going to be bringing home to you a student data form. And we're asking that you get that back into the bus driver just immediately. Let me tell you what that's going to be used for. Say that form that you're going to be filling out, it's got all of your children's pertinent information, their emergency contact numbers, their allergies, if an ambulance was called, what can and cannot we do with your children, what should they know. So anyway, it's very important. Now, if the driver, God forbid, is ever in an accident and the driver is knocked out, I will come up on that bus, the police officers, and we will pull that student data form off that bus, and we can know who is on this bus. We can find your phone number, we can call you, we can let you know what's happening, where the children are going, what hospital they're being transported to. It's very important. It's just for the safety of your children that you sign them and get them back to us. Also attached to those student data forms is a list of the bus rider rules, and we ask that you go over those rules with your children, and it's for their own good. In the rules, it explains that they've got to talk quietly while they're going home, and it talks about how important it is to tell them they cannot put their heads and hands out the bus window, because they could get them knocked off. It explains why they can't eat on the bus. Of course, Mom, if you've got 75 to 80 kids on a school bus and one ever got choked, it would just be impossible almost for the bus driver to get pulled over in time before that child choked to death. So that's one reason we don't let them eat and drink on the bus. Also, in the past, bottles has come down rolling underneath the driver's brake pedal. That's another reason why we don't let them drink and eat on the bus. So go over all the rules with your children. And something else I'd like for you to know, already this year, we have had children wanting to ride another bus to go home with another student. And for instance, Sammy wants to go home with Johnny. Sammy's never been on that bus before, so Sammy has to have a note signed by you and signed by the principal in order to go home with little Johnny. So, because we want to make sure that these kids are not running away, I hope not, or just make sure you did give them permission to get on a strange bus, and because in the past that's not always been so. And also, let me tell you a little bit about, in Jefferson County, we have 70 school bus routes here. We have 70 bus drivers who drive those 70 buses. We've got I think we've got 13 subs. We've got 5 monitors on our special needs buses. And we just run a good operation. There again, I think we've got the very best driving those 70 school buses. We haul every day about a little over 4,000 students on those 70 school buses. And every day those school buses are traveling just about, I think it's 3,889 miles a day on those school buses. That's what the drivers turned into us. And almost they do it without incident. They do a fabulous job. We do have some problems on these East Tennessee narrow roads, which are all over East Tennessee, not just Jefferson County, they're everywhere. These bus drivers, I don't know if you realize it, are having to drive these big old transit-wide buses on these narrow East Tennessee roads. It's a tough job. And also, as you know, in the morning when the time changes, they're going to be out there driving around in the dark and trying to pick up these children who will get on at 6:30 or 15 till 7. I ask that you make sure that they have that reflective clothing on, or something where the bus driver can see your child standing on the side of the road in the dark. And we also ask that you tell them not to stand behind a black mailbox, because I've been riding these buses in the morning time, and I mean, it is so hard to see. It's black, it's foggy, and you know what I'm talking about. And we really have to look hard, and several times I've had to turn around and go back because we couldn't see the children standing on the side of the road. That's very important to a bus driver. And also, we just ask that, get to know your bus driver. They're wonderful people. There again, Jefferson County has got the very best. Every day I get emails in from other school systems telling about the tragedies that are happening with school buses. The stop sign that comes out, when you see them yellow lights activate, slow down, because something's fixing to happen with that school bus. And by law, it cannot extend that stop sign until it actually stops at the child's house. When you see that stop sign come out, please stop. It's the law. Last year, several children got killed in and around the United States. Drivers ran those stop signs. And also, we have had parents, because number one, we ask that your children be out there 5 minutes prior to the arrival of the bus, because we don't want children having to run and catch the bus. Last year, not in Tennessee, I think it was upstate New York, child was running to catch the bus. As the bus began to pull away, the bus driver did not see that child. As it began to pull away, it fell in a pothole and it landed right in the front of the back tires, and that driver ran over that child. So make sure that they're out there 5 minutes prior to the arrival of that bus. Let's keep them safe. Let's do all that we can do, and we're going to do our part in making sure that we give you the very best bus drivers, and you help us keeping your kids safe, okay? 5 minutes prior to the arrival of the bus. Make sure that you get that student data form back into us. Make sure that you go over all the rules and the regulations, and that way your child will know how to behave on the bus. For the most part, our bus drivers have a great rapport with the students here in Jefferson County. At the end of the year, they're family, and your children will grow up, and they will look at, that used to be my bus driver. I thought the world of my bus driver. We're like family. And I just want you to know, I want to reinforce to you, you've got the very best driving your children here in Jefferson County. And I'll turn it over to...
We started our new year off with a few changes. One thing is we are meeting some more targets with the new federal guidelines. These are the sodium targets. Really has not adjusted our menus very much at all. Which is a good thing. There is changes with breakfast. We now are offering not just one fruit, but you'll be offered 2 half-cut fruits in the morning breakfast line. So that's a big change. The child is welcome to take both fruits or just one, and it is required that every child take at least 1 fruit at breakfast this year, so that is another change. We also have the new SMART snack rules that took effect with our a la carte items and stuff that have to fit. It's basically calorie limits, sodium limits, fat, and sugar. There's a calculator we use. So it has to meet those guidelines for us to be able to provide that in the schools. The whole grain, everything bread-wise that we serve, the main ingredient has to be whole grain on everything this year. So we've been serving most of that the last couple years, but this will be a little bit of a change as far as every item must be whole grain. We are frantically processing free and reduced lunch applications at this time. If you received a directly certified letter, you don't fill out an application as the letter instructed you, but the ones that we are processing are typically based on income or children that are new enrollees that just aren't sure if they would fit the directly qualified. We process the applications for those. We're keeping those called up daily, but if you have any questions, feel free to call the office. We'll be glad to look at those for you. A new thing coming that hopefully in the next week or so we'll be taking letters to the schools that will be coming home is the new Meal Pay Plus system, where you'll be able to go on the internet, you'll register your child and yourself, and you can actually go on their lunch account to see how much money they have. I'm told you're able to see their history, see the meals that they've ate. Also, you'll have the option to make payments online. Now, the company does charge a small fee to do that, and you're more than welcome to use it, or you can just do it the old-fashioned way, send the money through the line, and it'll get on the account just the same without the fee. We hope this will help parents know how much money the kids have. If they're buying a la carte, they can see what they're getting. So it should be a real benefit to us. Like I said, if you have any questions with application or the status of your child, feel free to call the office and we'll reevaluate and look at those with you. And I think that's all we have that's new and going on in our department this year.
When I first got involved with the school system, somebody told me that 3 things that would be of greatest importance to parents with regard to the school system are beans, buses, and ball. So, first thing I'm going to discuss with you is the status of renovations on our football stadium. As many of you probably already know, we had a structural engineer evaluate our football stadium late winter. And the result of that was we had some conditions there that we needed to address immediately. So we embarked on that immediately so that we could have it ready for football season this fall, and we are on pace to do that. We, in fact, should be finishing up this week. The renovations included a number of structural enhancements and remediations that make it a much safer stadium, and while in the process we've also put on a coating that and done some waterproofing that should extend the life of that stadium for decades, actually give us many more years of service out of that facility. I think you'll like what you see when you show up for the first home game. There will be some more work to be done after the season's finished, but all of the major level 1 structural issues and the coating and that sort of thing have already been completed. I'm going to add an additional B to the B list in buildings. I'm sure many of you are interested in what's going on, especially with the high school building. Renovations continue. We have completed pods 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the functionally complete level, which means that we can have school in them. For the most part, they're finished. There's some finishing touches that have not been completed that we need to take care of. we'll do that when the students are once again out of the way during a break or something of that nature. Pod 4 is not current, or Pod 5 is not currently occupied by students. They are, and their teachers are relocated to the portables. We are finishing up in Pod 5 and look to occupy that with teachers and students at fall break in October. So that means all the educational pods will be at least functionally complete by fall break of this year, which puts us fairly close to schedule. And considering that we've done nearly $750,000 worth of structural modifications that were not included in the original scope in order to ensure the safety of this building and the safety of our children while they're in this building, it is really quite phenomenal that we're still as close to schedule as we are. And still anticipate finishing this entire project August of 2015 to include the new construction, which is about a $45,000 addition, performing arts, visual arts, an auditorium, new band room, new choir room. If you're driving by on West Dumpling Valley, you look down there, you can see it's taking shape. Brick on the face, the structure got the shell of the roof on it now, and a lot of the structural steel within the inside catwalks and that sort of thing are in place, so it's coming right along. As you're coming to the high school, you'll notice we have a new red light, thanks to the efforts of the school board, the county commission, Tennessee Department of Revenue, and the town of Danbridge, all coming together to make that happen for the safety of our students. When you consider that at the beginning and end of each school day, we have the highest concentration of inexperienced drivers in the county at that location. This was a much needed addition to our county, and I want to thank everybody involved for making that happen. I'll finish by thanking our maintenance staff and our technology staff for their part jumping in to make sure that we got school open on time. It was a photo finish for Pod 4, but we made it happen thanks to their willingness to jump in and assist, and our contractor and subcontractors working the extended hours and weekends to make things happen. And also like to thank our custodial staff for jumping in and not only at the high school but around the county to prepare our buildings for the students to re-enter clean, learning environments ready to start school. We are having school, teachers are teaching, and children are learning.